Hey, this is Meredith Elliott Powell, and welcome to another Saturday morning and another edition of Sales Logic. I am here with my co-host, Mark Hunter. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Saturday morning. You and I doing Sales Logic. Hey, it's just logical, right? What the heck? Hey, what have you been up to this week? Oh, well, excuse me. I know what you did. You recorded the audio for your book, right?
Yeah, I did. Super exciting, right? We're doing everything we can do to really get the book out there in every single form we can get it out there. So recorded the audio. And, you know, one of the funny things about recording an audio for your book is you have to read it again. And it's really nice to read a book and go, wow, I'm really proud of that. I really, really like what I read.
Okay. Did you make any changes?
I did not. I'm done.
Whoa. Wow. Because I'll tell you what, whenever I've read mine, there's always been a couple times when I might change a word or two. I mean, nothing significant, but you know, it's like, yeah, I got to keep playing with the recipe. I can't let it go. So anyway.
Yeah, for me, this one is baked. But listen, I'm super excited because today's show is all about velocity. Really talking about what you can do to be more efficient, more effective, move at higher speed. So how about I shoot that video and we jump into the show?
Let's go.
Prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
Again, I am Meredith Elliott Powell. Welcome to Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of Sales Logic. I am here with my co-host, Mark Hunter. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. It's a privilege to be here. Hey, we got a great topic, man. We're talking about how do we pick up speed, velocity. We got a great question. We got a great book we're going to highlight. So, hey, I guess in order to pick up the speed, we should rock and roll. But maybe you should tell the audience kind of how the show works and how they too can get involved.
Yeah. So every single week at 9 o'clock Eastern, we come to you right here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube to talk about one of your favorite subjects, and that's sales. And the format looks like this. Every week we have a topic, a really relevant topic to help you be even more effective in sales. We cover a book that's going to highlight really that topic and some things that you can do to even go deeper. We finish up with a lightning round. But my favorite part of the segment is about you, your questions. Every week we feature a question from our viewer, and all you have to do is to be featured on Sales Logic is just send us a question at our website, saleslogicpodcast.com, just saleslogicpodcast.com, or just put it out there on social media, hashtag us Sales Logic, and we will pick it up and put you right here on this show. So Mark, what is on tap for today?
Well, on tap for today is a great topic. You know, I should just make a quick plug because we're taking the show on the road to Outbound. That's what I got on the screen behind me. For those of you watching, Outbound Conference, June 15th through the 18th in Atlanta. And Meredith and I, we're going to be on the main stage. We're going to be doing kind of an expanded Sales Logic show during that time. But hey, we're both speaking there. If you can't make it live, it is virtual, June 13th through the 15th. And so, hey, jump out there, grab tickets because they're left. That you can't sell out the virtual. So anyway, you can get a ticket. But anyway, hey, use the code Meredith, MEREDITH 100. Or if you can't spell a long word,
use Mark.
Go with Mark 100.
Mark,
yeah. There
Mark
you go.
100.
Anyway,
whatever you do, just get your tickets to the Outbound Sales Conference.
It really is a very special event. Georgia World Congress Center, Atlanta. Anyway, hey, the topic today. How do we get more done in less time? Yeah, who isn't stretched? I had a long conversation with my main assistant yesterday on this very topic. And the question this week comes in from Victor in Puerto Rico. He asks, I'm overwhelmed. Ever since the pandemic started, the stuff I need to get done has tripled and customers are more demanding than ever. I'm exhausted my team is exhausted. That's really not so much a question as a statement, but boy, I'll tell you what, we can sure run with it. So jump in.
Yeah, Victor, here's what I'm finding is that people, even if you had a really good year in 2020, and a lot of people either figured it out or in one of those businesses that happened to boom in the middle of COVID. But as they look at 2021, they're exhausted. And so you got to turn around and think about what's exhausting you. And what I think is exhausting people is they don't know if their efforts are moving them closer towards their goal or taking them further away towards their goal. So the first thing that I'm going to say, if you want to learn to manage your time, is you have to differentiate between tasks that are productive and tasks that are busy. In other words, clarity of your goals and really understanding what tasks are you doing that moving you closer to a goal and which are moving you further away.
Boy, that touches on something that I talk a lot about, and that is R and G. You have to make sure that your time is being spent only on R activities and G activities. What are R and G? R is revenue. If it's not revenue producing, well, why are you doing it? The other one is G, goals. If it's not moving you closer to your goals, why are you doing it? And this is one of the challenges. But I'm going to do a little plug. If you've got employees, Victor, it sounds like you've got a team. You have got to become personally engaged with your people. Now, this isn't the time to go wonky with them, but you've got to be understanding of where they're coming from. You got to be understanding of their personal needs. You've got to respect them. You've got to engage them in conversations that let them share with you what's going on in their lives. And you've got to just step outside your box a little bit and reward them a little bit. You've got to be a little more upfront with your compliments. You've got to be a little more upfront with potentially just giving them a dinner gift certificate or something of that nature. But right now, more than ever, we need to be taking care of our employees because it's a volatile marketplace out there. There's a lot of opportunities for people.
Yeah, I just read an article this morning on what you really need to do to attract talent in tough times, because it is such a powerful and important topic right now. Victor, another thing I'm going to tell you is you need to learn to manage your energy, not your time. For years, I thought that I had to sit at my desk between 8 and 5 or 6 every day. And if you came home with me right now, you would find that's not how I work at all. I really have a 2-hour attention span. That's kind of as much as I can handle. So my day looks something like this. I get up in the morning and then I work from about 5:30 in the morning to somewhere around 6 or 8. I'll leave, I'll go play a round of tennis. I'll come back. I'll work from about 8 to 10 or 10:30. I might go leave and take the dog for a walk. I come back from that. I work from 10:30 till about 1, 2, or 3. I might ride my bike, play 9 holes of golf, hit tennis balls again. In other words, I know what fuses energy into my body and I know what sucks it out. And also, like, I don't jump on the phone and talk to people that it isn't revenue producing. I found that kind of thing sucks the life out of me. And so you need to know yourself and balance your energy and your time. You may be somebody who can work solid from 8 to 5, and that's good. Go with that. Do what you need to do. My husband's like that. He can go to work at 7. He can come home at 5. He doesn't take a break. And then from 5 on, he's not ever going to work again. I work in intervals.
I now know why you never take my phone calls.
That's right. Sorry about it.
Just figured that out. Why? So anyway, but and I was going to call you out for it. You only have a 2-hour attention span. I think sometimes you have a lot less than a 2-hour attention span. Okay. Anyway. Okay. You might start revealing stuff about me, so I guess I better be quiet there. But hey, this really dives in on the topic we want to be talking about, and that's how do we get more done in less time? And one of the challenges that I always come back to is we don't have a time management problem. We have a priority management problem. And we really have to ask ourselves, what are the priorities that we're working on? And I really call, especially salespeople, out on this, because so many times they get drug into activities that really aren't priority. It's just a noisy. it's a noisy person out there screaming. It's the old joke that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and that's the problem. We can't allow ourselves to get deviated off of our major priorities. How do you get more done in less time? It's by just focusing in on what's absolutely the most important.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to call out Jan. Jan, so thanks so much for joining us here. People really do neglect recharging, and I got to tell you, I suffered from that too. I thought playing during the day was something that was wrong. But really, when I started to embrace it, I really feel like I'm so much more productive. So really focusing on what really works for you. But let's talk about getting more done. I love this idea of priorities, Mark, that you're focused on, because I really buy into that. Every single morning when I hit my desk, I already have my priority set. And the reason I have my priority set is because I make 2 lists before I shut down my office at night. I typically shut down my office at about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Remember, I have played intermittently all day long, so I work late. But the two lists I make are the priorities of everything that needs to get done. So I release my head of the brain dump of not forgetting. And then I write down the first 5 things I'm going to get done in the morning. What that does for me is it makes sure that when I hit the desk between 5 and 5:30, that I don't waste any time trying to think, what should I do, or what should I focus on that day? I want to immediately be productive. The other is I get the heavy lifts out of the way first. I typically make sales calls first thing in the morning. I typically write first thing in the morning, because that's my best time. And I want to make sure I'm as productive as possible. Glenda, so glad you're here.
Hey, there's something that you talked about there, and it's what I call the 10 a.m. rule. And I'm a firm believer in the 10 a.m. rule. At 10 a.m. every morning, you want to ask yourself this question: what is the significant thing I have done already today that has made my day successful? Now, here's what the 10 a.m. rule is all about. It's hitting things hard first thing up in the morning, because what you want to do is you want to accomplish your revenue producing activities, your goal producing activities. Get some of those done by 10 a.m. because now what happens is you've got momentum. You have got momentum, and it's going to accelerate your day. Or if the rest of the day falls apart, we'll say the day falls apart, you've still had a successful day. You see, what I find too many salespeople do, not just salespeople, people, is they actually spend the first hour and a half of the day just kind of gearing up, getting into it. Hey, I'm up at 4:30 every morning, and I go, wait a minute, hold it. I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Do I want to spend that time between 4:30 and 6 or 7, just kind of easing into the day? No way. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to be in bed asleep. I've got my set routine, and we've gone through our routines before on previous episodes, but it's hitting the ground hard and making it happen. So come 10 a.m., and actually in my own case, I actually call it the 8 a.m. rule. It's the 8 a.m. rule. I want to make sure that I've done something significant by 8 a.m. And then I ask myself again at 10, I ask myself again at noon, and I keep going throughout the day. Now, I live in Nebraska. I don't have the benefit of being able to go outside 12 months out of the year and play tennis and golf and everything. So we just work all day. That's all.
Yeah, it's funny. The other morning, I was at my desk at 5 because I had agreed to meet a friend of ours, a friend we know through National Speakers Association. I'd agreed to meet her at 7:15 to go for a hike, and I hit the desk at 5, and by 7, because it's uninterrupted time, I needed to leave the house at 7 to meet her. I had gotten so much accomplished because no significant emails are coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning, Eastern. No phone calls can be made. The only person I can call is Mark, because he's the only other person I know who is up. But it's so I would also say finding those pockets of time that you really can work. So again, nighttime is a good time for me too, because not a lot of significant things are are coming in then. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about because it's really going to lead into the book and that we want to highlight today. And we are highlighting a very good friend of ours who's written a very powerful book about velocity. So you're going to want to stay tuned to hear more about that. But mindset is key to getting more done. Last week, I had to deliver a brand new keynote, and I'd written the keynote, but I memorize everything I do. I don't use slides. I'm really just speaking. And I was having a lot of heartburn around it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to memorize a new keynote. This is a lot of work and blah, blah, blah. And then I just caught myself walking through the yard and I thought, you need to adjust your attitude. Look at this as fun. Look at this as, wow, you get to conquer some new material. How's this going to expand your repertoire? And I could immediately feel the energy change in my body just because I decided to look at a task a different way.
Isn't that amazing how your attitude affects the ability for you to accomplish things? I find that so many times. It's easy for me to sit there and say, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overloaded. I mean, that's the story of my life. Sure. But if I look at it as saying, hey, these are opportunities. These are opportunities, and I should be thankful for them. It is amazing how much more energy it gives me, and it accelerates my ability to get more done in less time. Because what I really find kind of interesting is the work will expand to the amount of time available. And this is why I'm a big proponent. I block my calendar. I block it. I have more meetings with myself than anybody else. I mean, but I have multiple voices in my head, so I have to do that. But these are, I set aside 30 minutes for this activity. I set aside 45 minutes for this activity. And I force myself to get it done during that time frame. And there's something, again, magic. If you can stay focused, beholden to your calendar, it is amazing how that simple activity can absolutely up the game in terms of what you're able to get done. We got some great comments coming. We do.
Glenda, thank you so much. Glenda is zeroed in on such an important word, and that is momentum. I didn't even think about it until she brought it up. But really what Mark and I are talking about in the way that you start your day, it gives you momentum. If you do some things and get some priorities set, a big one for me, just like Mark said, is I prioritize revenue generation. Even if my revenue looks good, even if I have a lot coming through my calendar. Why do I do that? Again, I know myself. When I book revenue, I feel the flood of energy come into me. So, so momentum is such a good word, because if I start the day on a high momentum, I'm so much more productive through the day.
Hey, we should jump into the book because time is slipping away on us. Hey, I got a copy of the book here. The Velocity. You do too. Hey, is yours signed by the author?
I think mine is signed. Yes.
Yes. Mine happens to be signed too. And mine is actually signed to Mark. It's not to a buyer, a customer. No.
Mine is signed to Meredith. So
okay, good.
There
okay.
You go.
Hey, this book just came out this past week, and I highly recommend it. It's written by our good friend. We've known this gentleman for years, quality Ron Carr. What I liked about this book is not only does he lay out strategies, but so many times you read a book sometimes and there's strategies in there and you go in there, he backs it up with so many stories and so many situations where he walks you through. That's what I think brings the book to life. I don't know what you've thought about it.
I really thought the same thing. I want to say though about those stories, he's really got some powerhouse people highlighted in here and some powerhouse organizations. It's the thing that I love is its velocity. We're talking about speed, and in an uncertain economy, it is all about speed. You don't have time to get behind. You don't have time to sit and think too long. You need to move. And the best way to do that is to get your mindset right about it, really focusing on what you need to do to be somebody who can run to the sound of the gunfire, who can take action. And he not only shows you how, but he shows you the stories and the differences that it's made with these organizations and these leaders. So you can find this at roncarr.com. You can also find it at on Amazon. Just look for The Velocity Mindset. Great read. As you can see, it's not super long, so we as sales professionals love that. And it's really going to make a difference. Just like Mark says, it always begins with mindset.
Yeah, and it's written not just for salespeople, but it's written for leaders.
Yes.
There's as much value in this for the leaders of companies, and that's who Ron works with a lot. So that's what I like about it, because it's a great blend. So anyway, hey, boy, we got a lot of people jumping in this morning. This is terrific.
We have the sales king here, a true mentor to me, Jack Hubbard. He says that his dog gets him up every day at 3:30, and at 5, I send 3 video messages to clients and prospects on LinkedIn. Listen, I got to tell you, I have known Jack since the 90s. And in the 90s, he was telling me I needed to make 3 phone calls every morning. I mean, this is back in the day when we used to commute to the office, and Jack would always use commuting time to just reach out, make a couple of phone calls. So I love the fact that he's gone into the video world, but this is a man who's been at it for a long time, and love that he is still practicing what he's preaching. St. Meyer and Hubbard is quite the company.
Well, I love it. He shared that comment with me. This was about a week ago, because our dog gets us up every morning about 4 a.m., 4:15. And when he said 3:30, then he doesn't go back to bed. I go, oh, so now I guess I need to get up at 4:15 in the morning instead of 4:30. So Jack, you're shaming me. Anyway, hey, we got to roll. Time is moving. Let's get to the lightning round. Quick tips to get more done in less time. Run.
Number 1, never leave your office without knowing what you're going to do the very next morning.
Block your calendar. Give yourself meetings with yourself to get specific activities done.
Understand what is revenue generating and what isn't, and focus first on the things that produce revenue and cash flow in your business.
Never forget the 80-20 rule. You may still have a lot of priorities, so then you go to the 80-20 rule. Remember, 20% of anything generates 80% of everything. Look at that. Break that list down.
Make a list of really tasks that you should be doing and tasks that you should offset to an assistant or a support person. I was just working with a physician on this the other day, and I said, literally, when you check a blood pressure, it's like throwing $100 into the trash can. If one of your physician's assistants can check that blood pressure, you get in front of another patient. Let's talk about surgeries. Let's talk about procedures. Let's talk about the things that grow your practice. So what can you do, and only you do, to grow the practice, and what needs to be offset to other people?
Focus your time and efforts on what you can control. Don't be concerned about what you can't control, because you can't control it. It's just going to suck energy.
Yeah. And speaking of energy, balance your energy. Really take some time to figure out who you are and how you work best. How are you productive? What pours energy into you? What sucks energy out of you? And really learn to, you can't manage time, but you can manage energy.
Work is not 24/7. You turn it on and you turn it off. There are off periods, and you literally walk away from it. You don't do anything. You take it completely out of your mind.
I would really say limit social media and ask yourself what social media channels that you're on. Nothing wrong with me being on Facebook or me being on Instagram, but it's not where my clients live. So I don't get to count that as productive time. So really know that, if you're on social media, ask yourself if you're on there being productive. If not, go back to something that's going to generate revenue.
Hang out with highly productive people. If you don't hang out with highly productive people, you'll never pick up the habits for them. Why don't you share one more? I'll share one more. We'll close it down.
Yeah, I would say the last thing is that really give yourself and establish some type of morning routine. I'm going to go back into Glenda's idea of momentum. Really focus the first couple of hours in the morning on doing things that are going to pump you up, a la Arnold Schwarzenegger, and give you the momentum to get through the rest of the day.
Nobody can motivate you. Only you can motivate yourself. And that's why I say I'm going to focus in on my goals. And regardless of what I get done, I'm always going to appreciate the day. And that's going to set me up to win the next day. Hey, we got to close it down. Our time has expired. I want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, Subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show. It's how we grow to help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meredith Elliott Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
all of this uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical. I'm going to see you at Outbound in just a few weeks.
Outbound Sales Conference. Remember, go to our website, saleslogicpodcast.com. The book this week is Velocity Mindset. We'll see you next week right here, 9 a.m. Eastern, for our Saturday sales conversation. Have a great week. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. You're fantastic.